God, man.
Long time no see, faithful viewer. Um,
Faithful viewer.
right. Zach
the,
Kellender
the,
says, "Lady and
ru-
gentlemen."
rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated. Right.
Not totally exaggerated, but greatly exaggerated. No.
Greatly exaggerated.
Uh, well, it's been 3 weeks, so nothing's happened.
Yeah, nothing at all, man. Yeah, in fact, the last couple of weeks, we just kept kicking the can down the road. It's just like, nothing to talk about.
There's nothing. Yeah, like hopefully we'll get to something soon. You know,
Actually, we have to put the blame squarely on your shoulders for this one.
yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry.
All good, man.
I've been out doing things, traveling, being cool and exciting.
Well, tell us, where have you been? What have you been doing?
So went to Denver to visit some work friends of Marissa. So got to hang out there, had a lot of food, a lot of conversation, and just sweet people. Love hanging out with them. So it was just a pleasure trip for me. She had to work. I just got to got to be the
You
cool
got to hang out.
Yeah, like spouse. Yeah, spouse. So that part was easy. Now, one of the things that has been on my radar, and I don't know how much we want to talk about this at all, just because sometimes we delve into the tech thing a little bit, but ripping pepperoni to Windows 10.
Oh, yeah.
Finally,
tragic.
Finally, they unplugged it from life support. The 40%, was it 40% of Windows users are on Windows 10, and they better do something soon. So.
To me, it's crazy that they would do. I mean, I don't think. What's another time that you can think of when you're only one version? You're literally on the very next version of the software, and you canceled the last version. Like usually, shoot. When did they stop support for XP? I feel like you had XP and then 2000 and NT and all these other things before XP finally, went away.
Yeah. So I'd have to look. I think there was the difference there is that people genuinely wanted to move to the next Windows version. And with some exceptions. So 8 was a little rough, but because of the way they did the start menu, they're really banking on, Windows is going to be a tablet OS.
Touchpad. Yeah, right.
And which was, given the way the iPad was taken off, I can see why they would come to that conclusion. And I used Windows 8 quite a bit on my desktop machine. I kind of liked it once you got it set up, but the defaults were all very tablet-y. So I totally understand why someone would not be a fan. But Windows 8 had a lot of improvements over 7. So under the hood and like some of the way that it handled things like, especially for gaming, it was better. So it's like, I can see why people that would have wanted to switch, but man, the 10 to 11 thing is just, I was pretty cold. I mean, there's so many people that are like, but 10 works great. Like there's nothing that I want out of 11. Why can't I just stay? And
which is a great question.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great question.
You and I know the reason why is because 10 didn't have all of the upsell, all of the microtransactions, and
the telemetry. Man, we got to get our tracking in.
Got to get our tracking. We got to get constantly remind you that hey, you should use Copilot, because if you use Copilot, then we have a subscription that you can pay for the Copilot that we really want you to use. And so on. So like so many things in there.
The most glaring thing that they forgot to do in Windows 10, there's this feature in there that they thankfully have removed, but it's still there, and so they have to. It's called privacy, and they forgot to remove that. They have to get rid of it. Yeah, so you got to move. It's a bizarre scenario, man. Like, so I have for people watching this don't know, like, our dad had a computer consulting business and was doing side projects back in the early 80s for people that, had a computer, it was like, oh. And then 1987, I want to say he launched his company officially. So like, you and I were building computers and you were learning how to network things together and, build it. and then the internet came out, and dude, we've been knee deep in computers for a long time, and I've got a Mac, I've got a Windows computer, I got a Linux computer, I got tablets, I got Android phones. We got whatever it is, Fire tablets. Like I love technology.
We got all of it.
Got it all. And
you even have a Vision Pro, right? Or you did for a while.
I don't have a Vision. No, I never did that, but I do have. I do have the Quest, of course.
Yeah. So we're sort of equal opportunity. We love everything.
I love everybody. I love everybody, and it's just. I will say, when Windows 11. I've been very much like. I don't really want to like. The only reason I have that is because these certain programs I need to run it. The more I mess with it, though, the more it kind of grows on me. So the thing that I've been like really reluctant to embrace is this whole Copilot AI. So I went through and disabled like all of the AI features, not because I hate AI. I love AI, but like I want to deploy it the way I want to deploy it, not like have it deployed on me. And
be the recipient of the deployment. Yeah.
I would prefer it to be my tool, not for me to be its tool. So I don't understand their approach here, frankly.
Well, I had a chance to talk to some folks who are also like really early into the microcomputer revolution, like you were talking about. And one of the things that happened right before we started was the invention of VisiCalc, the
spreadsheet,
the first spreadsheet. And this was so revolutionary. People who had other computers, they had like the ColecoVision or TI-80, or the TRS-80 from Tandy Radio Shack and stuff. But
Tandy Radio Shack,
yeah. But VisiCalc only ran on CP/M, which was pre-DOS, right? So CP/M. And so people were like, look, I have to run this thing, right? Like you have like a grid that you can put anything in, numbers, descriptions, anything. And then you can have some of the grid have formulas that
reference other pieces. Yeah, it's amazing.
You can change something up here and then it changes everything underneath it. And it's like, it's automatic. Right. Like it's a visual calculator. And so people are looking at this and are like, man, this would completely revolutionize all these parts of my workflow. I got to have this. And so they went out and purchased, sometimes spending, $2,000-$3,000, which in the early 80s, that's
a lot of money,
like spending $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 on this, because it was like, you had to have it. You would be willing to buy a whole new computer in order to run that. And
it's so crazy. And now you get that for free as part of your Google subscription. It's just crazy, how different it is.
But there have been a lot of killer apps throughout the years. So back in '94, the game Doom was a killer app. People are out there throwing away their 386s and buying 486s because
just to play Doom.
I gotta play this.
That's right. That's right.
It doesn't matter. It's like, well, it's going to cost $2,000 for that amount of RAM. Like, it doesn't matter.
I need it. Gotta have it. Yeah.
Photoshop's been a killer app. So a lot of these things where something so useful that you'd be willing to buy a whole new computer to be able to run it. And I feel like we have one right now, and it is running AI locally on your own hardware so that you control it and that you have the reproducibility, the productivity that comes with of having it running on your own machine. And the thing is, these models, these AI systems, they require a lot of RAM, they require a lot of processing power. And that would be a natural thing to say, well, look, you need a new computer because don't you want to run all this stuff that's amazing? And so, yeah, you're going to upgrade from Windows 10 to Windows 11 because you're buying a new computer, bro.
Right.
It's going to come with the new stuff. You're not stuck on the old stuff anymore.
Yeah, except that those computers don't locally host the AI. They just plug into the internet like everything else,
Exactly. Well, here's what I think happened with Microsoft is this is my guess. This is just a guess. Was that somebody said AI is the new killer app. If we can get people, if we can get people to do that, then this will be the catalyst that spurs the next big buying wave of PCs, laptops, all this other stuff, because this stuff is so useful, like you'd want to run it. And somebody else said, or we could host it and do all of it, and they would pay us a subscription. And so now instead of making $20 per copy of Windows 11, as it's sold by Dell or whoever,
and Microsoft goes,
the ones making
subscription.
Yeah, because that way all the real profit is being held by Dell and Best Buy, the retailers, all this other stuff. Instead, if we sell this as a subscription, we get to keep all the profit.
Right.
But then if it's a subscription, there's no reason to upgrade your computer. You could use a Chromebook from 5 years ago and access the stuff.
In fact, you probably should.
And you probably should.
You probably should.
Why do you have?
Yeah.
Why do you have a new computer? You don't need that. Everything's going to be hosted on the cloud. And so I think that then they're sitting here going like, well, we got to spur the next buying wave in order for us to sell Windows 11 on these new computers. But we've also taken away your reason to buy the new computer because now there's no killer app. Now it's just like you could just wait for your laptop to die and then replace it. Like, oh, okay, how these things last a pretty good long while now. They're pretty well made.
I was just I was watching the not to sidetrack you, but just like, I feel like Apple's in somewhat of a similar boat with this Apple Intelligence. I've got it.
Oh,
I've got it.
Bad, right?
Yeah, I've got it turned on my phone, on my tablet, on my Mac. But it doesn't really do much of anything for you. I mean, like literally, people are using it to like retype things. Like you can't just go and ask it. So, for example, Google Gemini, which I've got a pro subscription there, and last week they released an upgrade that allowed Gemini, if you wanted, they could flip the switch, and Gemini would absorb every chat that you've ever had with it. And because before it was kind of, siloed, and each chat's kind of its own thing, and you come up with a master prompt and, you feed it to start off your chat. Unless you don't want to, and then you can come up with another, thing and make it think you're a pirate or whatever. Right. So
generally speaking, that's the way I like using a chat interface, where
siloed, right?
Conversation is separate.
Right. Yeah. And that's the way. But Gemini, they said, okay, if you want, we'll flip a switch and it will, because it's already in your email, it's already in Google Drive, it's already in all these different places, but it's kind of compartmentalized, and we'll just, if you want. And I was like, yeah, of course, man.
You push the button.
I was like, I don't care about privacy. Just, figure it all out,
you got the stuff anyway. They already have this.
They're
not giving them access to something they don't.
They already have. It's already on your servers, right? So like, okay. It's amazing, dude. The thing just like immediately, it was like, I asked it something, and it was like, oh, well, given that you were trying to do this, blah, 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 is that because of this? And I was like, actually, yes. It's like, perfect. And da-da-da. And I'm like,
here you go. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it's really, it's
kind of nice.
It's really nice. Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah. So, and you would think that like an Apple Intelligence would do something like that. Like, hey, this is living on your computer. I mean, here's some file that you're trying to find, some picture, that you took sometime, but because you use, some photo manager, everything's siloed into, 2012, folder 3 for March, folder 27 for the day, right? I mean, like, and it, everything's all fragmented like that. It's like, if you don't have a good AI photo search or facial recognition, all these different things would be amazing if they were just deployed across your system, but nobody seems to. I mean, I don't understand how difficult it is to sit down with people and go, hey, if AI was in your computer, what would you want it to do? I mean, you can come up with a list of 100 things, none of which would be in any of these computers, so.
Except you said Google is getting
there. They're getting there. But
with Gemini.
Well, so I don't know. Have you messed with this the new browser that ChatGPT just released?
No, I've kind of retired my Mac right now, so I don't have access to it.
Okay. So
is it nice? You like
it? Well,
it?
so I just started messing around with it, and it's called Atlas, right? And what it does is basically like think about like how you use your browser now. Most of the time, you've got your standard pages that you go to, your mail, your calendar, whatever, Notepad. But then, you're really using it for search and looking up stuff and finding things that you can incorporate into the things that you're doing. This thing just like, I mean, from the get-go, just you don't need to use Google. You don't need to use. I mean, to me, it's like the fact that Google would, waited so long to deploy Gemini in the way that they did. They had this the LLM thing going. They could have launched even before ChatGPT, from what I'm reading. Of just kind of their backstory. So they wanted to wait. They wanted to make sure it was fully baked, and which I appreciate, but which was weird for Google because they release half-baked stuff all the time, and then take it behind the barn and kill it. Yeah. But like the AI mode and search. I mean that's such a recent thing. They could have turned that on anytime they wanted to, and really differentiated themselves. And now that ChatGPT's done this browser, the next thing guaranteed, you're going to see Chrome blossoming with all these different features. Because one thing Google's great at doing is copying people. So,
well, no one's totally sure how to do this yet. So maybe the OpenAI guys have cracked the code, because Edge has a lot of Copilot integration stuff, but most people turn those off. They don't find them to be very useful. So I think it's more than just like, hey, have these two things talk to each other. Like there needs to be some kind of glue that from the user's perspective feels comfortable and fits seamlessly into what they're already doing. So I don't know. One time I just for fun switched my default search engine in my browser to Gemini.
Okay, what'd you think?
So like you just type something in the thing like you would be searching for it, and instead of going to Google search, or I use DuckDuckGo or whatever, it just went to Gemini. And see like how high quality are the results that it gives. Can you just switch over to it full time? And I was very impressed.
It's very good.
I thought it did a very nice job.
It's very good.
Like, it's imperfect, but in the same way that a web search is imperfect. Like, I'm not looking at it and being like, and I found the truth. More like, this is a place to get started, but did it give a good enough place to get started that I felt like I wasn't missing out on anything? And I think they did a good job. So I think right now with the wrapping up our Windows thing, I think Windows 11, there's 3 groups of users for Windows 11. You've got the people who really like all the stuff Microsoft's doing and don't mind being upsold. So it's like, yes, I would like to have an Office 365 subscription. More space on OneDrive, I would like that too. Copilot subscription, why not? And so you just kind of say yes to everything. And I think they have a pretty good experience. I think everything mostly runs and they're sort of taken care of and it's fine. It's like they're not sitting there going like, why did it delete all the files on my home directory? It's like, oh, because we moved them to OneDrive for you. It's like, well, I didn't want that. But if you're this group of user, you're fine with it.
Yeah, you're good with it. Yeah.
You just want to say yes to whatever Microsoft's doing. I think they're okay. Next group are people who don't mind tinkering with the machine and shutting stuff off. And I think the difference between, say, a stock Windows 11, like just open up a new laptop and start using it, versus the version where someone has removed stuff that doesn't need to be there, is huge. I think a lot of computer enthusiasts don't realize how big a difference there is between the two. It's like once you've gone through and adjusted stuff, or how startup stuff works, and pared down the notifications on things, and changes. So it's like, oh yeah, this. Then it's like, oh yeah, well this is actually fine. Like sure, the start menu isn't as nice as the Windows 10 one, but so what?
Yeah.
But you've done the work to make it sane. And so I think there's that group. And then the third group are the ones that just find the whole thing frustrating. They're not willing to say yes to everything Microsoft's doing, nor do they have the skill to go through and configure it, or even know that it can be configured.
Or they just,
and so they're just sitting there,
or they just object. It's like, I object. I shouldn't have to do this.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Well, I was talking to a coworker who had a new laptop with Windows 11, and they're sharing their screen, and you can see down in the corner. So the widgets, the news widgets for Windows 11, those are paid for through the MSN network.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'm sure everybody notices this. Whenever you do a search for something on Google or any other one that uses a lot of advertisement, all of the sponsored links are all garbage.
Yeah, that's right.
Like you don't click on a sponsored link. Like there's very likely to be malware or pure clickbait or whatever. You skip below that, and then those are the real results. Well, the sponsored links, that's what MSN Relay is. So the only thing that's showing up down there at the bottom is malware and clickbait. And bizarre celebrity gossip news, click here, number 5 will surprise you or whatever. And that's just scrolling on their desktop at all times. I'm like, why do you do you want to see that? And they're like, well, no, but like, so why don't you just turn it off? And like, you can do that. And it's like, yeah, right click it, disable. And you're like, will it still work? Am I going to get in trouble with IT?
Will I
And
get in trouble?
it's like, yeah. So like their experience of it is like, you know, like sitting there at a web page with advertisements around. What is it in Idiocracy where like your
Sponsored by
television
Carl's
is
Jr.
this big?
Yeah, and the
Well, yeah, but
entire
like the program is this big, and around it are just ads. You know, it's like that's the way they're experiencing Windows 11, and so they're like, "Well, Windows is garbage. You know, please give me a Mac." And, you know, that's kind of
what was that other movie? Had Sylvester Stallone and Sandra Bullock. It's set in the future,
Demolition Man.
And they're driving in the car, and the radio stations are all commercials. And she's like, "Oh, I love this one." He's like, what's going on? Yeah, Rocky.
Like we call these micro songs or something like that.
Yeah.
You use them as advertisement, but these are part of our cultural heritage. And we're like,
no. Yeah. I'm very interested to see what happens with just the whole idea of search. You know, like if you download, you know, in the future, if you end up, getting, I'll give you a peek at it. So this is literally the browser.
oh, okay.
And all you have is, I mean, you know, you can import your bookmarks and whatnot, but instead of
it was a pretty easy onboarding experience.
Yeah.
I know this is their first version. Fine.
Yeah, import from another browser. They only give you Safari as an option. And so they go, okay, yeah, import, and here you go. But you know, you can, you know, see here. See if we can get some content for our show.
Upsell.
Yeah, upsell. So it's full of upsells. So, but
okay.
What's really great about this experience is, you know, I wouldn't say it's super different than, you know, a Gemini search or anything like that, but it completely solves the problem that you're talking about. You don't have to dodge links. It's not like playing. It's like dodgeball. Whoa, look out! You know, here's another.
Click that one.
Here's another crap link. You know, and then it'll show you. You know, you dig in here, and here are the sources where I got this from, and you know, and you can drill down and whatever else. I mean, it's not. You know, here's my answer to your question. Here's the resources that I used. You know, if you're looking for art, videos, and then you know, just news. I don't know how they're pulling these, but I guess self-identified news sites or whatever.
Indian Express, WeForum. Oh, so this is where MSN is getting their stuff.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, if I do this,
mm-hmm.
and then when you search for this. And then you can also like let's say you're in a field writing something, you know, you can right click and, you know, help me write, you know, whatever. So, you know, just it'd be interesting. We'll see, you know, if you make it your default browser for you know, if you make it your default browser, you get like a free week of like extended limits or whatever.
The Pro.
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. That I've been watching like how money gets poured into the AI ecosystem, you know, and I think the first big wave was to try to somehow fix programming. I think there's a lot of energy behind that, and you know, if you ask like, well, what's wrong with it, and people say, well, we could try to get programmers more productive. People were talking about like it'll be a 100x productivity. You know?
But in many ways,
100x.
In many ways, though, that's actually conceivable.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely.
Because 100x would mean that the thing that would have taken you a year to do, you're now doing in 3 days.
So think about this, right?
That need to be very
well. Think about this.
Very unlikely.
Think about the job. Let's pick a job. Here's a job of a customer service person who lives primarily in chat, right? So
Okay.
I go to GoDaddy, for example, and I have a problem registering, getting my DNS to work on my domain name. And so I go open up the chat thing and, wait for some, what's your question? Da, da, da. Okay, getting you to a chat person, and you wait, you're third in line for the queue, and you're waiting and you're waiting. And now finally somebody comes in, right? And, hey, my name's Ragiv, and I'm going to help you.
My turn.
Yeah, I'm going to help you with your thing. And what seems to be the problem? And so you're typing, and then, it's like, oh, okay, well, da, da, da. What kind of computer do you have? Okay, perfect. Go here, da, 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 whatever. And they walk you through, well, no, I'm getting an error message. Okay, what's your error message? All those different things, right? And that person might be in the chat there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, fixing your problem, right? 100% of that can be done by an LLM, 100% of it. You literally,
Oh, sure.
right? And so take functions like that. And now instead of, so before I would have an employee and I would rate the employee on, okay, how fast, how many calls can they take per hour? How quick is their turnover of the call to get to the next one? What's their satisfaction score, right? When people, all these different metrics, and I would have incentives and different things I would do to encourage the humans, right? But now I don't have to do any of that, because now I just program one bot to handle all of these questions, right? Feed it whatever information it needs. And as it encounters things it doesn't know, okay, feed it that information, right? And now, I mean, that's not just 100x, that's probably 1,000x, a million x, because that one bot can handle all these simultaneous conversations. There's no wait. I mean, you're just dealing with the AI. And so you think about like all the different functions. Go ahead.
I'll tell you, I had an experience with that yesterday. My laptop webcam stopped working. I called in HP. I'll give them a shout out. I called in their support line. They're like, would you like to talk to an AI? I was like, sure. And it's like, please describe your problem. And I said it in normal words. It wasn't like I had to type it out or like tap it in or whatever. It's like, here's what's going on. I'm like, okay, did you try this? Yes. There's what happened. Okay, did you try this? Yes. And then was able to correctly solve the problem.
And I can't tell you how many times, like I had a issue with I was trying to remote into my Windows computer, and I was getting this error where it would say, your account's been locked because too many attempts where you didn't get the password right. And I'm like, this is really weird, So like I delete the app, reinstall it, wait 30 minutes, it'll clear up. And waited all day. Finally, I'm like, okay, I gotta get this figured out. And so Gemini helped me knock it out in literally like 15 minutes. First it's like, okay, try this. I'm like, I've already tried those 3 things. None of them work. Okay. You already tried those. Okay. So go here, type in this in the run thing, it pulled up this obscure program. I didn't even know it was on the computer. And it shows me like, okay, go down and change this variable, the system variable to 0, which I do. I can immediately log in. I'm like, okay, perfect. That worked. And it's like, okay, change it back now, because that'll reset it to 0. And it said how many times? If 5 times, I was like, no, it's 10 times. If you misput the password in 10 times, then it locks you out. I said, oh, perfect. Let's just set it back to 10, which I do, and I'm immediately unable to log back in. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, this must work different than the way you think, because it's like, no, that is the way it works. That means you've got a hack. Somebody's trying to what do you call it? Spam your system to try to get in. And so go to your router and check, check the, what is it? The 3380 or whatever the port number is for the port forwarding. You want to disable that, because if it's open to the internet. And I look at the router. I'm like, no. And I can't, there's no way for me to cut and paste, because the way my router is done is it's, I have to log in through the ISP to get to it. Okay. That's kind of messed up. And so, but
you should own your own router.
Totally. So I took a screenshot of it though, and uploaded that to Gemini, because it can read screenshots. And so I put a screenshot in there. It looks and it goes, oh yeah. Oh, well, don't change this one. No, all these are fine. All these are fine. You reset it to 10, and within 10 seconds, it was already locked again. So there's something that's spamming your system. So pull up go here, type in this command, and it pulls up this other obscure program I didn't know, the event viewer or whatever in Windows.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, okay, and then put this code in for the filter, which nobody would have known. It's like, oh, it's 4380 or whatever. Put in this code, and then that just restricted it to the denied entry attempts. And sure enough, it was so I I have a NVIDIA Shield that I run my Plex server off of. So for my media, so that when I'm on the road or whatever, I can get my whole movie library. Very cool. And I had mounted my my Linux system as an external storage on there. And because I had dual booted and it had the same IP address, it was attempting to mount the storage on my Linux computer from that IP address, which of course the credentials are wrong, but the IP address was the same. And so therefore it was, and I was like, oh, okay. So I just disabled that, whatever, system returns to normal. And then Gemini's like complimenting me, hey, that was great troubleshooting, and I'm like, dude, that was not great troubleshooting. Like you literally, like that was just, you showed me where the breadcrumbs were and I followed them, right? All of that would have taken, like if prior to an AI like that.
It might have taken days, yeah.
It would have taken days. I would have been on Reddit boards. I would have been on this and that and the other. I would have called Optimum. Somebody would have come out here. I mean, like, so you're talking about like massive gains in productivity.
Yeah.
On anything that can be delivered over an email, over a text message, over a chat bot. And we're getting to the point where over the phone, I've got things that I've been playing with here where you can have a full on conversation with somebody that, it's not a real person. They just have expert level knowledge on this particular topic.
Well, and when it came to HP, that's exactly the way the experience was. I mean, I talked, it responded very quickly. It wasn't like there was a long wait period or thinking while it's going through these layers. It was very fast, very fluid. Voice sounded very natural, and it was great. It was a great experience. And so I think we're going to see stuff like that. I don't think of that as maybe if it was your system, if you're like, well, now I don't have to answer as many emails, your productivity goes up.
Dude, think about all the service providers.
Right. No, I get that part.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay.
What I'm saying though is that like some things, and this is the bet that a lot of people are making, pouring billions of dollars into it, was maybe we can do the same thing with programming. And then so like a programmer where before, like I just saw a report today actually about how all the states that still use COBOL mainframes to do their unemployment benefits got hammered through COVID. And you can actually chart out the COBOL versus non-COBOL states in terms of how benefits flowed to the people that needed them. COBOL states were way lower. And it was just like, here it is. I mean, here's the graph. This is the thing that's in common. And it's like, well, you know what? Normally, you'd have, if you're like, we're gonna migrate from COBOL to something newer, you'd have to pay people that knew COBOL, which of course there are very few, to go in there and like do all this hard work of porting the application. So it's like, what if all this could be made automatic? What if you could tell the LLM port this program from COBOL to whatever,
Perl or whatever, yeah,
Java, yeah,
Python, yeah,
and then it would just write it, and then you could just deploy it, and that's it. And it's like you would go, that would be like 1,000 or million time productivity speed up. And again, not for the programmer because there is no programmer, but it's for the organization. You would get this productivity gain. And so far that has not panned out. The times where things it turns out that a lot of the hard work of programming is debugging, and it's like, oh, guess what? That doesn't go away. And in fact, maybe now it's harder because it's easy to debug something you wrote because you know how it happened. Someone just hands you like, hey, I wrote this. Can you tell me why it's not working? And then you have to try to figure out why it's doing what it's doing. Why did they put this in here the way they did? And so,
but as long as the AI has access to the system log, like if you can do a dump of, like if you can do a verbose execution and have here's the 382 commands that are that fired and where the errors were, then it goes, okay, well, the way I wrote this is wrong, and rewrite it this way.
So,
you're done.
So you think, but so far, what the big sticking point has been is when they write a series of tests, and you're like, okay, here are the tests to find out if your implementation works, and then see if it passes the test. And if it doesn't pass the test, and then eventually it'll come back and say, okay, it passed all the tests. Like, great. And so you go and look, and a lot of times now what it's doing is it'll delete the tests that it doesn't pass. Like go pull Maru, like, no, I changed the test.
Not
bad. And so you have this kind of unruly behavior on the part of these LLMs.
Human behavior. That's what it
human-like
is.
behavior.
It's human because it's a reflection of the people that program it.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're having a really hard time turning. So is there a productivity speed up? Right now, the current use of the tools, which is again after billions of dollars have been poured into it, maybe at this point there isn't a real productivity boost. Like maybe like 1.5x, which is
Well,
something.
but can I press pause
Yeah.
on that idea for a minute and just consider this though? If they stop development on AI today,
hmm
and then every business that exists slowly, even over the next 2 years, implemented everything that could be implemented by the existing tool set,
With the stuff that's here today.
you would easily have 100x gains in productivity.
So
I mean, maybe not in every job function, but overall, right? You would need you.
so that's
Go ahead.
the problem right now. So here's where the first wave of AI stuff has been a bunch of visionaries. And the reason they went after programming first was that if you could have the system be good at programming,
Well, then it can iterate itself.
then it could iterate itself.
Yeah.
And like that would be the holy grail. Then when people start talking about like AGI or super intelligence,
The singularity.
that is the necessary first step. It's got to be able to program itself. And so you can think of a lot of these places are willing to spend a huge amount of money and operate at a loss trying to develop the tools to do this, because the first person that does it and has, I mean, imagine data centers the size of what OpenAI has, not working on, finding you the good Parmesan chicken recipe or something, but instead working on
Enhancing itself.
That would be amazing. And that's kind of the scary thing where people talk about AI as like a nuclear weapon in terms of its danger or its power.
I'd say it's even more dangerous or more powerful because it has the ability to iterate.
So, but that's
itself.
The thing. That's the part that has not happened. And
right.
So if everything stopped at this point, then that thing, the one that everybody wants, the visionary thing, doesn't happen. But you wind up getting all these other things like customer service. That changes dramatically. It is changing and will change more, even if you stop development today. Even if you just had the stuff that is available today. Even if you had the stuff that's just available today that can run on consumer hardware. I mean, there's still a huge amount left for innovation to happen on just the stuff that is currently available that can run on computers, can sit at your desk today. So yeah, I mean, I'm not one of those people that's like, yeah, this thing is not going to go anywhere. It's a fad, whatever.
But I want to give you one other thing to think about. So, I've been I've been really wanting to more fully deploy AI in my own business, right? And so one of the things I've been looking at is, okay, well, is there a course I could take or a set of courses I could take that would help me get, there's different credentialing things out there, et cetera. And then of course there's a million, snake oil salesmen selling, join my course and, for $7,000, you can learn whatever. I've now taken to where, like, I'll grab these different things that I think are interesting, where I'm like, oh, is this a good value, right? And I would give it to the AI. And again, when I say AI, I'm speaking more of Gemini because that's what I've been using mostly. Okay. Gemini and Grok have been my two go-tos. We'll see if this browser changes my patterns and all. But I would get an evaluation back, right? Like, this is good. This is over here. This may or may not be useful, whatever. Once I flip the switch on Gemini to allow it to take in the entire context of everything I've been asking over the last, 6 months. It was amazing, dude. I fed it a couple of these different, I wasn't even thinking, let's see if I get different responses. It was like, I uncovered something new yesterday and I plugged it in there. And the answer it came back was it was just next level. It was like, this program might be useful here, here, and here. I think their claims are a little bit outrageous here, here, and here. But given that you have an insurance business and given your 22 years of experience in the business, your real value add is going to be here. And so what I would recommend instead is let me design a program that would teach you all those different things over the next 3 weeks. And then you can go deploy it in your bit where you're actually likely to have the best return on your own investment of time. I was like, that's great. That was like, that was without any master prompting or anything.
That's
That's
now what
solid.
that's now what I recommend people do is if there's something you want to learn, I would start with the AI. Not necessarily finish with it because I don't know because finishing knowledge, who knows where that's going to take you,
Right.
right? But like as to get started on something, I would get started. Why not start with yeah, like Grok is good. Gemini is a little web searchy for me for like a cold start. But like get onto one of the big aggregators like T3, pull up the latest Quen or DeepSeek or something. Like I want to learn about whatever. How should I start? What should I start learning with? And then have it teach you, and then see
Or
how
better yet, ask me questions about what exocratically ask me questions about what my goals and intention is, and then give me a recommendation.
yeah,
And in
and then
fact,
let it
after
help.
you ask me those questions, and right before you give me after you give me the answer, write me a system prompt for you that would help you always generate answers of this quality. And then here's your 2-page system prompt.
Yeah,
You don't have to learn scripting prompts. You just ask it to script a prompt for you.
exactly. And I don't see why more people don't do that. And I mean, this is one of those where I think it really hasn't hit everybody yet, like what these
Right.
things can do. I was showing off
But
a
there's such a different level. Like that's where this browser is so interesting. It's like you can see where their heads are at. Their heads are, look, 99% of the world hasn't even begun to interact with AI the way that we think they can. Number one. Number two, we know the vast amount of people using it are using it to find the chicken recipes and whatever else you're talking about. Like they are. They're not actually using it to just a small LLM can give you so much knowledge. You just have to ask the question in the right way.
yeah. Oh yeah. Let me show you this. You'll get a kick out of this. I'm sharing this one. Okay. So if you want to bring that up. So
There you
this is running in my little browser here, and this is something I vibe coded. Quen 3 running locally, and I wanted to try doing some batch processing on some stuff. So so basically what this allows me to do is have the same instruction prompt and then paste in different document text that I want to run against that prompt. And I have a system prompt in there and number of tokens I want. And of course, temperature tells me, how creative do you want it to be?
Right.
Have it hooked up to my own running version of LM Studio. And so basically, and each time I hit the button, I get a completely clean answer. So I don't have to continuously open a new chat, copy paste this. And so like think of the things that you can do with this. So I was talking to a buddy of mine who is a lawyer. And it's like sometimes you're doing contract, not negotiations, but just evaluations. Like, does this contract include these features?
Right.
And it's like, oh, I need to check to see if it includes these 5 features. And if it does, I need to know where they are in the document. And so it's like, okay, you write up that prompt, put it in here, and then just paste in the contract, hit the button, and you get your response, and paste on the next one to get your. So it's like, it's still a manual process. So it's not like, hey, we automated this entirely. But this was a little tool that I threw together in about an hour. So, right now, one thing that you can do with it, and this one I was showing my students this, is I wrote out a long prompt for grading an essay. And I included all sorts of stuff like I'm a professor at a Christian university. Here are the things that I care about myself. Here's the way I value neutrality. Here's what I think about, and then for the prompt, here's the way I want it graded. Here are the factors that I'm looking for. I'm looking for sincerity. I'm looking for research. I'm looking for this. And then here's how I want those graded. So it's very long, very complete. And I pasted someone's paper in there and hit the button. And I watched it give comments like, here are the 3 things that could be improved. Here are the 3 things that were good. Here's what the grade I would give it. And everyone's like, wow, that's really amazing. I was like, okay, now here's the question. Why wouldn't you use this before you turned in anything?
Right.
Like,
Right.
why are you waiting on me to do this?
Right.
Why don't you do it? And It would be like,
What were their answers?
well, they were kind of laughing, like, yeah, that's funny. Um,
You're
because,
like, I'm serious.
yeah, no, absolutely.
It's not a joke.
Because it's like spell check right now. Spell check is so absorbed into the way we normally do things that you would find it really strange to turn spell check off while you were writing and then turn it in without running spell check. Like, why would
Right. Right.
And same thing, like, hey, if I had a good prompt here that included all the things that I cared about and the way I like to write and all this other stuff, why wouldn't I run whatever I put against it just to see? It's like, oh, you didn't include this. This is usually good. And I'm like, that's a good point. I should include it, So anyway, I think that stuff like that, like this is the low hanging fruit.
I agree.
And we still haven't picked the low hanging fruit yet.
Right.
So, I'm very curious to see where some of this stuff goes. Obviously the big prize is AI generated programming. I feel like that's further away than people think, because I think people misunderstand what programming is and why it does what it does, and also what the bottlenecks are. Like, the bottleneck is not learning the syntax of the programming language, although that's what most people who are not programmers think when they see it. They're like, oh my gosh, it would take years to understand what all this stuff is. It's like, no, actually that part takes a couple hours. The hard part is knowing why these steps have to be done this way. And that is actually very difficult. So, we'll see. We'll see. I did hear, though, today that the Pentagon was using OpenAI tools to help it make decisions for war preparation. Did you hear about this?
Yeah.
What do you think?
So what are your thoughts about that?
Ready for that? You're the one using their browser. Are you like, yeah, it's totally ready. Let's go. This is the time.
How would it not be? I mean, like, so it's read every book on military strategy. It's read everything that's ever been written on it. It understands the credibility of the various authors and what their experience is. And so you're asking it to war game out and run hypotheticals using, tried and true. I mean, the Pentagon's not the one that's out there iterating. It's the operators are iterating, right? And then the operators come back from whatever task that they just fulfilled on, and it's like, hey, we figured out if you do it this way, somebody innovates. That's right. Somebody innovates something in the field because they're in the heat of battle. They come back and they're like, all right, we want everybody trained up on this right now because if you put your refill here instead of here, and you're half as fast, that gives you another 20 seconds, whatever the case may be. And so then that works its way up into and then you've got these really that's right. And then you've got these really intuitive, like, say battlefield, like commanders or whatever, which they were just talking about this actually with the Ukraine scenario. Cause they're like, for years, America has been really the only country on earth that's been deployed in all of these different theaters of, war, let's call it. And we could argue that, that's mostly, at our own initiative. However, I remember growing up and being like in the third or fourth grade, and I think it was mom said something like, yeah, well, America, like we're the only country we've never attacked anybody, like we're democracy, so we defend, we're just defending ourselves. It's like, man, maybe that was true in the 80s, but certainly not. You go back and look, and you're like, oh my gosh, what about Gulf of Tonkin? What about this? What about that? So, but we've been deployed all over the world in all these different theaters, and so we have real world experience. We have battlefield commanders that know, what it's like to be in battle, right? Where you have the vast majority of let's call them Western countries that have no real world experience, or a fraction of the real world experience that our battlefield commanders have. But because of the Ukraine and Russia thing, now, of course, Ukraine's spooled up, and now, of course, and of course, all of our, our advisors and stuff like that. And it's, they were just talking about how it's actually become like, okay, well, like China is getting like a little antsy about like, oh, the fact that Russia is getting all this like real world data feedback, right, from their military thing. They're like, oh, well, how do we need to catch up to that? And I mean, it's fascinating because the value of what did they call it? It was like kinetic feedback. Yeah, kinetic feedback is like, okay, because it's in the real world theater, and then I executed this thing, and now I get this real world response.
Right.
The LLM has no ability to do that yet. So,
well, and I'll tell you, this is war is a great. I don't want to say field because it makes it sound like a battlefield, but it is a place where innovation happens. And I mean, you did see this, by the way, on the run up to World War I. There were Europeans who had visited the States and were kind of observers during the Civil War. And their information was very valuable because prior to that, the last time Europe had been in a giant conflict was the Napoleonic Wars. And so it's like a lot of that information on what kind of weapon systems, like this is pre-invention of the machine gun. Machine guns were available during the Civil War. All sorts of other things had happened. And so it's like, well, okay, you were over there. You saw what the Americans were doing. Like, what's going to happen now in Europe here? And like now, like, look at the big change that's happened with the Ukraine war. Is the use of drones, and not like fancy military drones that are millions of dollars. Right. They're like buying little tiny
consumer,
and they're like, it'll hold some C4s, send it in, and it's like, make sure you hit the button after it crashes.
Yeah.
Turns out that's really effective. Strangely effective. Way more than you'd think.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's like we're gonna get pallets of drones.
Well, and now you have our people like studying, how did they deploy those? What did we learn from that?
Most effective. What kind of targets can and can't be.
Right. What's a 5-star target? Using this weapon versus that weapon. Exactly. It reminded me of that movie, The Last Samurai. You were just talking about because was it Cruz? He was part of Custer's.
Yeah, Civil War veteran. Yeah,
it's like you too have fought the natives or whatever, and he's like, yeah, that was a great movie.
That's why I'm an alcoholic now.
That's right. That was a great movie. That's a great. If you can get past the Tom Cruisiness of the main character, it's pretty.
What's wrong with Tom Cruise?
No, nothing. It's Tom Cruise playing a race car driver. Tom Cruise playing a samurai. Tom Cruise playing and here again, Tom Cruise playing a fighter pilot.
Cary Grant's kind of the same way though. No one's upset.
Totally. But Jimmy Stewart, on the other hand, maybe not so much.
Yeah, or Lon Chaney. You have no idea who that was.
Who is Lon? Yeah, exactly. What? Man of 1,000 faces. Yeah, that's a good pull, dude. Lon Chaney. Wow. Well, hey, let's shift into some news for our last. So topics of conversation. So, what do we got here? We got the Trump ballroom. We could talk about. We could talk about the. We could talk about these the Republicans that had the Nazi Republicans in their group chat.
I didn't hear about that. I heard about I kind of think the ballroom is a nothing. Interior of the White House has been redone many times. I don't think that one's a real issue. Do you? I mean,
no.
It's a remodel.
No, it's to me, it's just ridiculous. What's kind of funny about it is like if you look at the plans, it looks goofy, in my opinion. It looks. I think the ballroom, it looks even bigger than the rest of the White House. I mean, it's kind of goofy.
I saw a really cool picture of the White House. Maybe I sent this to you. I don't remember, but it was the White House being remodeled under Truman, and he had the thing taken down to the studs. Like they were showing some interiors of it, and it's like just empty insulation and stuff, and the entire interior of the White House in that part is fresh from Truman, and it's like
paid for at taxpayer expense.
Yeah,
Truman. This one will be paid for by Trump donors. So it's like, to me, it's like, dude, I mean, you're paying your own way. It's like, I mean, every so often a president comes in, and I think Obama put in like a bowling alley. It comes about. I mean, like, not so much on the outside though. I think that the controversy is this is changing the way that the building looks even from the outside, and so it's kind of like he's Trumpifying the White House is the. I don't care. I think it's kind of stupid.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, would we be mad about an Obama-fied White House or a Biden-ified White House or Reagan?
Well, but
I
none of those
don't
people
get
had
it. He's
had. I mean, Trump has his own look and feel. Lots of gold, lots of yeah.
oh, hey, if there's gold toilet seats, like if he goes full Saddam Hussein, I'll be. I
You know
mean,
what?
maybe I'll eat my.
You know what movie I was
words.
watching a couple months ago? The Devil's Advocate with Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino. And there's a scene in that movie where the real rich guy that kills his wife or whatever, that he ends up defending towards the last half of the movie. They go into his apartment and he's like reenacting it. That's actually Trump's penthouse, and it's all and it's all it's all gold and super like ostentatious. And you're like, man, this guy thinks he's a king, and then you find out it's Trump's.
Pharaoh. Yeah, nice. Oh, that's great. What a cool bit.
Okay, so I would say we could take a pass on that one.
Okay, I don't think
the thing that I would be really interested to hear your opinion on is because I don't think we've talked about it is the Middle East, the Middle East peace deal, which
with the one with the Gaza deal. So I'd heard, the only thing that I'd heard was that the hostages were released, the remaining living hostages were released, and everything seems to be going according to the agreement.
Well, last few days it's
has it
well, no, I mean, depending on the news source you read, the peace deal is crumbling, etc. It doesn't look to me like it's crumbling, but I just thought it was fascinating how I wasn't quite sure whether you were going to get any Democrats or big names on the left to actually acknowledge the significance of it. But I was pleasantly surprised. So there were plenty of people that came out and said, no, this is historic.
Hey, peace is peace. Like let's be happy for that if we get it.
Well, also, I think it speaks to I was one of the have been one of the more negative, I guess, voices about the business deal making style that Trump kind of brings, because it seems to me that he finds a way to enrich himself, or he's always cutting himself, and it just I don't know, it rubs me the wrong way. That aside, though, and the only reason I say that aside casually like that is, I mean, let's be real. Every deal that's ever been cut in the history of our country and the history of deal making, the worldwide, some people somewhere have gotten rich off of those moving pieces. And so let's
it's usually like no bid contracts, or something from my district gets to pay for that,
right? Or like during the Iraq War. I mean, Cheney's funneling all these contracts to Halliburton and Bechtel. I mean, like it's just because nobody else could possibly do it. Yeah, right. Okay, so
why would we go through the bid process?
Has nothing to do with the fact that you were on their board and still, it has nothing to do with any of that. Anyway, so I kind of say that aside because, dude, I mean, politics is corrupt. So,
right.
But I don't know how many, like one argument I heard was, well, I mean, this was basically taking the Biden had negotiated a deal, or Biden team, and basically they just used the framework of that deal. So, in fact, I think even one of Biden's, it was either Biden's tweet or somebody in the Biden administration was like, oh yeah, it looks like, I'm glad he was able to use our framework to get this done. Right. Yeah. Cool. To me, it's like, dude, that misses the point. Like, of course they used an existing framework. Like that would be dumb not to, but like the hard part,
we're starting from scratch, blank piece of paper.
The hard part is not getting some document or some framework deal. I mean, like ChatGPT can do that for us. The hard part is getting people to agree to actually do it. And I think the brilliance of this whole kind of sequence has been that their team was able to get all of the Arab nations aligned as well. So like, because it really left like Hamas in this kind of place of like, dude, you got nowhere else to, I mean, they cut off, like literally it's like everybody is on board with this. So
we all think it's fair,
right,
kind of
and so it kind of put them in a. I mean, there was one move to make, and they made it. So that was, to me, that was very cool. Now, like ultimately, like some of the criticisms, which I think are fair, is that basically this whole thing looks like it's just let's move the population out, take the land over, make it some kind of a resort type of a Riviera type scenario. A lot of rich people are going to get richer, and you're just basically displacing. It solves the problem. How do you displace these a couple million Palestinians so that we could do something with that land? Kind of similar to the way California is using the fires to clear out Malibu. So yeah,
right. We don't need these
You're right.
people here. What's going on? Is that so? I'm so cynical. This is really sad. Whenever I hear like, oh,
that's why people watch the show, because of your cynicism, dude. Yes,
for the cynicism. Yeah, I know. Well, so this is where it actually cuts against us, because when I heard about that, it's like, we got it, we figured out peace, and I'm like, do you want to see the details? I'm like, nah, because it's not going to happen.
Well,
it doesn't matter what details there, but it looks like maybe, I know Austin just put in the chat that like Israel is claiming that Hamas is already breaking the deal or something like that. So who knows? But so I haven't even looked to see what's in it, because I'm just like, it's not real.
Well, to that point, that was one of the big criticisms. It's like, look, like to have this isn't a peace deal. Like to have a peace deal, you need to have like everything broken out, and all these people have to agree on all these things. And yeah, technically that's true. I give you the point. On the other hand, it's like, dude, you know how many stakeholders are in this thing? Like the thinner on details it is, the better, because the more fluid it could be. Like kind of like what they did with the Affordable Care Act. It's like, well, how's that going to work? But
it's up to the HHS
as determined by HHS, right? So it's like that's repeated over and over and over in there, because it's like, dude, I mean, we're not know how that's going to work out. We have to see how the market does, and then the HHS can figure that out. Which,
all right, so I'm looking at govfacts.org has brought up. They have a quick summary here, and by quick I mean probably about 10 pages long. So, essential transaction of the deal: Hamas committed to releasing all 48 remaining hostages, 28 alive, 28 believed to be deceased, within a 72-hour window. And in exchange, Israel agreed to release a substantial number of Palestinian prisoners. Sources familiar with the talks specify this would include approximately 2,000 Palestinians, 250 serving life sentences for serious security offenses, another 1,700 who have been detained since the war began on October 7th. So this sounds like if the war's over, we don't need POWs anymore. So just send them back, right? There's a couple people that are not going to be released, so maybe people who were sort of masterminds or something like that. Agreement stipulated an initial partial withdrawal of the IDF from Gaza. Within 24 hours of the ceasefire beginning, IDF was required to pull back its forces to a predetermined, agreed-upon line. An Israeli government spokesperson indicated this would leave Israeli forces in control of approximately 53% of the Gaza Strip for the time being. Okay, so we sort of freeze the conflict line at a point that is not the original border. So this would be a territory concession, I'm guessing, such that I'm sure there's people that listen to this that are like, it's not a territory concession because these people are not a real government or whatever. But whatever version of that, like, yes, all those caveats in there. And then
Austin just referenced Dave Smith, who Austin, I love Dave Smith, by the way. So don't necessarily agree with everything he said, but I love like where he's at, like mentally, because he's very. I don't know if you've ever listened to him, Russ. He's a comedian. It's amazing how many comedians are now getting into a political commentary. Maybe there's some crossover there, but yeah, he's great.
Wait, are you saying comedians? Are we?
Oh. Yeah, check out his YouTube link that he just posted here. Another after we're done, you can see what you think about him. He's great. His podcast is called Part of the Problem, which is I'm part of the problem.
Okay, so this also includes unimpeded flow of humanitarian aid. So immediately all fuel, medicine, food, open crossings. So that does. I mean, that sounds pretty positive.
Let me show.
It
Let me
doesn't.
show you. This is how this Chat GPT browser did. So I just put in here what's the current status, right? And so it gave me some eye candy here, but then this is really interesting. So what has been agreed or achieved so far, right? It bullet points all these things, and then it gives you the sourcing of each point.
Right.
Same thing here. So what remains fragile or unresolved, right? And you notice how, like, for example, Atlantic Council pops up all the time, so because they're super critical of anything the Trump administration does. So they're gonna be like, oh yeah, here are 3 of these bullet points belong to them, and then you can come over here, see what they have to say, right? But you don't actually lose your yeah. So it's really good. So you can kind of keep this as a base, and then kind of browse around these different points, and then here's ChatGPT's my assessment.
Oh,
so
okay. So here's I know a lot of people don't like this about AI, is like the bias or whatever, but I enjoy asking it, like, what do you think? And just so I can hear it, And so in this case, it's like, yeah, I'd love to hear what it has to say about this.
If I were to summarize in one sentence, the war may be paused, but peace has not yet been built. We need to work on your eloquence, bro. You can alliterate that a little bit.
Yeah. So, okay, nice. So will the parties transition from a war phase to a peace or stabilization phase? So governance reform in Gaza, disarming Hamas is unlikely in full. Yeah, it'll never be possible to completely disarm a group. That cannot happen. So if you're saying, like, we're waiting for 100% disarmament, that will never occur. Like that's poison pill kind of language. Interesting. So I think positive sounds like I'm kind of the issue seems to have always been a land issue, and so I don't know if the Palestinian people will be content with giving up 53% of the Gaza Strip.
Well, if you watch, Kushner was in some interview a couple of days ago, and they were asking him, well, will the Gazans be allowed to return? And his answer was, I mean, basically, I mean, he said he didn't say it like what I'm about to say, but his answer was basically like, probably not. He's like, he kind of goes into, well, look, I mean, Gaza is not even a real place. I mean, we just call it Gaza because that's the land that we had to set aside from the '67 war or whatever.
The Aquitaine.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, so, like, I mean, let's face it. I mean, like, are they gonna, they're gonna be able to afford what we're gonna build there? It's like, well, bro, you're getting real close to what I would call, anybody would call ethnic cleansing. I mean, maybe not by murder, but certainly by displacement. We got to get these people out of here so we can take their land. It is some nice waterfront property, as Trump says.
It could be made into that.
Yeah.
It's a big we'll see for me. Like, I'm glad the hostages are home. I'm also glad that Israel felt like everything is over enough to return what, like I said, looks to me like a POW situation. So that, to me, is probably a stronger signal than it sounds. Like, why would we return 2,000 soldiers if we thought that there was a chance that things would spark up again? It's like,
well, I think it actually just shows you how valuable Israel thinks their own people are, right? That we're willing to exchange 20 of ours for 2,000 of yours. We're basically saying that one of ours is worth 100 of yours.
Well, and if you're kind of an ethno state, like I'm pretty sure that, say, Poland or Czechoslovakia would feel the same way about their people. Like, oh, it doesn't matter what I'll take. That's our blood over there. We got to go get them.
Okay. All right. So that's we can button that one up for the moment. We got a big we'll see on there.
That to be continued. Yeah. Like, it sounds like this one is evolving as we speak.
What do you think of the New York race? I don't know if you watched.
Oh,
that did you watch the last debate?
I watched little bits of it. I still think the smart money is Donnie.
100%. Yeah.
And I think that there's sort of again, my cynical side comes out and says, okay, the last people that talked like this were the squad within the Congress, and then also Sanders kind of talks like this sometimes. It's interesting that they tend to fold or just kind of pass into normal DNC operatives. So I'm kind of sad about this. Oh, Austin, yeah, come back.
Yeah,
Man.
we try to do it every week,
Any-
although we just were on a 3-week break. But we've been doing this going on a little bit over a year now. So yeah,
a little over a year, yeah.
Good to see you.
So what I would really like to see is I'd like to see Mamdani take office as mayor, running on the same platform that got him through the primary. And because I think there's a lot of people out there that say that socialism never works and that it's always going to be a disaster. And if that's what, if he's going to put some of those ideas into New York politics, then New York City is going to go down the drain. And I think there's only one way to find out if that's true, and that is to really do it. And the thing is that people were overjoyed to vote for him in the primary. Like, why not let him run that way? But instead, if you see like the stuff that the pivoting that he's done, I think the pivoting that he's done has been kind of like, no, look, I'm sort of a normal
I'm not
Democrat
scary.
kind
I'm
of
not
thing.
scary.
I'm not doing anything weird. It's like the first when Sanders he was voted mayor, right, of Burlington.
Back in the day.
His first major political office. And there was he was interviewed on national television. You don't normally think of the mayor of Burlington.
Right. But he was full on socialist. So yeah, of course he got a spot.
Yeah. Like, should we be worried? Like, are you going to like start rounding people up and sending them to gulags and stuff? And he's like, no, that's crazy. Like, we're just here for we're going to make Burlington better for everyone. That's the whole idea. And he was popular mayor and everything seemed to turn out just fine. So why not do that? And then we'll know, right? Then it's like, if it turns out that those ideas are really bad,
we'll find out pretty quick.
You will see, like, you see New York City turn into something like Detroit in 2010, go bankrupt. Suddenly, like, they shut down parts of the city because the city services can't deal with it. And it's like, then the Democrat Party, which I want to be a strong and invigorated party, will have had kind of an emetic. They'll like take the ipecac and throw up poison, right? And that's what this would be, right? And on the other hand, if it turns out that it's fine, then all those people who are just a bunch of corpo inside traders that you have going on in the party now, they're like, no, we're not a fan of socialists, we're capitalists. Look how much money I'm making from the stock market, because kind of stuff. Then we can get rid of those people, because we'll finally have proof that socialism can work if it's managed by the right people and done in the right place. Like, the reason socialism failed in Russia wasn't because socialism is bad. It was there's something about Russia that made it.
Right. We're Americans. We kick butt at everything we try, including socialism. Yeah.
Including socialism.
We'll do it the American way. Like, we have stick-to-itiveness. We have innovation. We're committed. We're Yankee arrogant. Of course we can figure this out.
Yeah. And plus, we got this island. And if we can make it work on this island that's the richest and most like socially cohesive place, the strong identity of being from here. If they can do it, then I think it would be inspiring for the rest of the country to be like, we're going to.
And if they can't, we'll just pull a Bane and blow up the bridges, and we got it contained. It's like it's Escape from New York.
Well, no, well, I think what would happen is you'd have something like Detroit, where Detroit was in a really, really bad shape after they went through their bankruptcy. I think 2/3 of the city left. You had whole
you could buy whole buildings in New York, like commercial buildings, for like $50,000. Oh, sorry, Detroit. Yeah, you could buy whole buildings. I was looking at a couple of different investment opportunities. This was 10 years ago, but like you could buy like tracts of homes, for $100,000 gets you this whole block.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, there's no water going to it. electricity's been shut down.
What water
There's
there is, you
no
can't drink,
trash.
but
So, but it's like if you could somehow build it back up. And the thing is that Detroit's
Yep.
still there. It's not like all those people died of
Right.
plague or something. Like they left to go to someplace else. They lost some industry. Detroit's in a revival swing at this point. It is on the upswing. So it's like, hey, maybe
life
New York
finds a
City
way,
needs
man.
to go through that, something
Jurassic
like
Park.
maybe New York City needs to go through something like that too. Or
Well,
not.
you're assuming that it would be bad. It could be,
But that's
could
what
be
I'm saying.
amazing.
I don't know that. You don't know
Could be
that.
everything the populists say it will be. So
Yeah. Like, what if it turns out that, like, if we have free transportation everywhere, we have a taxpayer system that can pay for healthcare, so we have single payer healthcare on the island for people who are residents of the island. We can do all these things. Maybe, like, it's incredible. There's like huge jobs boom. People love living there, and it's amazing. That's what they say is going to happen. Let's find out. And this way, like, the whole country can find out together because it's such a big place and so iconically a part of American society that it's not like you can hide it. Like, yeah, we tried socialism in, Abilene, Texas.
Well,
like, no one will ever know.
have you seen yeah, exactly. This is a pretty visible test case. Have you seen there's a bunch of effort over the last couple of weeks to get Curtis Sliwa. So basically there's three guys. Mamdani's the
Republican.
Sliwa's the Republican, and then Andrew Cuomo's running as an independent since he lost the Democrat primary. And they're trying to get Sliwa to get out. So because they figure, okay, if Sliwa can get out, well, so these are the geniuses that try to figure political stuff out. And I use the term loosely. The genius has pretty much been wrong about most everything. But
fools, you mean fools? I tell you.
So these guys are basically saying their theory is, okay, well, Mamdani's running at high 40s, low 50s.
Mm-hmm.
If we can get Sliwa out, then it's just a two-man race. Even more like some of these pundits are basically like if what Trump did with RFK, how RFK was running as a Democrat, but basically Trump was able to incorporate that message. Hey, look, I'll give you HHS, right? And so if you were going to vote for RFK, now you want to vote for me because RFK is with me. So anything you wanted him to be doing, he's going to have a portfolio.
Which, by the way, the RFK fans turned out to be very happy with this deal.
100%.
It actually happened the way that was promised. So
well, because think about it, if you don't have any power, you're just a squawking voice, and so it's like, look, Sliwa has zero chance to become mayor. They're not going to elect a Republican, so you're not going to become mayor. So instead, if we bought you off, let's say you join the Cuomo administration as neighborhood safety czar or whatever, whatever your red beret is about, right? Yeah. And it's like
put in charge of the fire department.
Well, so Sliwa has come out basically every day has had a press conference saying, I'm not going anywhere. And he gave this interview a couple of days ago that went viral, where he basically just deconstructs the whole thing. He's like, look, this is just ridiculous. Okay, so first of all, he's like, I'm a nominee of the National Party. Okay, I'm a Republican nominee. We have a whole ticket of Republican people running for office in the state. I'm leading that ticket. I'm not going anywhere. And he's like, if somebody wants to drop out of the race, it probably ought to be the mushy guy that's not even part of any party that, basically doesn't, even want the job. He just, wants a personal redemption for himself. And he's like, look, I mean, bottom line is he's like, the Democrats are the ones that caused the situation. Like they had a primary, their voters wanted that guy. And so that's what the Democratic Party wants. That's what they get. He's like, yeah, he's like, look, so you got Bill Ackman, it was really Bill Ackman he's a billionaire fundraiser guy in New York, a hedge fund guy. And he was very controversial last year because he came out late for Trump, basically saying, after supporting Democrats for years, basically it was like, look, Democrats have lost their way. They don't even know what free speech is anymore. They're all these fringe issues are not addressing anything. Like this is stupid. They have no original ideas. I'm not supporting them. And so people were like, I mean, he was on CNBC, all these places. People were like, how can you be supporting Trump? This is ridiculous, And he's like, look, I mean, let's break it down, And he would make the case very eloquently for why at least Trump should be considered. Like, he's not like, he's not like, I'm not some freak show for wanting to support, Trump over the alternative here. And so, but he came out basically saying, look, I mean, if Mamdani gets elected, it's going to be a financial disaster. All these billionaires, including myself, people are going to leave. We're going to have a huge tax based loss, et cetera.
Oh, really?
And so he's been
predicting like total disaster.
Yeah, total disaster. And of course, if you watch the debate, it's so funny, both Sliwa and Mamdani were ganging up on Cuomo, which was kind of funny. Sliwa would talk trash about both of them, but he was giving neither one of them any quarter, basically, because in Sliwa's mind, you guys are both Democrats and you're both, insane. And so he was trashing both of them. Cuomo would never go back at him. He would always whatever negative came at him, he was like, well, he would kind of divert it and then attack Mamdani, which that's smart because it's like, look, that guy's in front. Keep in mind who your enemy is here.
Yeah.
But Slee was just like, look, dude, I'm not going to help them figure this out. That's ridiculous. He's like, I know what I believe. I know what I'm running for. I've been saying the same thing for decades. If they like what I have to say, they can come and run with me. And if they don't like what I have to say, then whatever. I'll continue being the activist that I have been being since the '60s. And so I don't know. I think the chances of him. On the other hand, everybody's got a price. So if Cuomo knew how to play his cards right, which I don't think he does, because I think he's just extremely narcissistic. But if he knew how to play his cards right, he would go and give him some very cherry position in the administration and say, look, some of but I don't think, frankly, I just don't think that Cuomo's got what it takes. Even with Sliwa out of the race, I don't think Cuomo would overtake Mamdani.
That's the part of this that
Mamdani is, and I'll say one last thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
He is just the same way that Trump is kind of this unique political talent, and people that hate Trump, including myself, I'm not the biggest fan, but you cannot. It's ridiculous to not acknowledge the talent that this guy has. He opens his mouth and changes the entire conversation. Why? Anybody else? You're like, it's amazing. It's like, why would you? How is one guy able to just throw a tweet out there or make some comment in a press conference and get the entire political dialogue to move? I've never seen anything like it ever. And it's. He's got a gift, and then you see these people that are like, what's the number one thing that Democrats typically hate about Trump is he's not presidential, he's not this, he's uncouth, he disregards the norms. And yet the most popular Democrats right now are Gavin Newsom and these other guys who are literally the one thing they love is how they troll Trump. And it's like, look, and they're literally doing the exact same thing that they say that they hate, and yet, but people love it. Right. Yeah. And it's like, look, the truth is that real people have real problems, and they don't feel like the people that they elect to represent them actually do that, which is true. They don't. The people that get elected represent their donors. They don't represent the voters at all. And it's just, and people see it and then they're pissed off about it. And so it's like, if you actually can grab that and then actually go fight for them and deliver for the voters, you get an insane amount of loyalty because it's so rare. And it's like it's some complicated formula. How we could have figured this out? It's like, actually just, I mean, I'm not saying that Trump even believes all the things that he said, because I don't believe he does. But one thing he does is he delivers on the things that he says. So even if, to whatever extent he can, to where his voters are like, okay, check that box for me, right? Somebody was saying the other day, it was like, oh, well, he hasn't deported all these people, and he totally lied. I'm like, okay, you're right. And yet what? The people that voted for him are happy with what he did. And so it's like, there's nobody that commands the loyalty of their followers to the same extent that Trump does, period. Sure. Which is what allows him to have, it's not because he yells at people. It's because they know that his voters are going to do whatever they tell him to do, including hey, don't vote for this guy. It's like game over for you if you're a Republican, right? Mm-hmm. Mamdani has the same ability to connect with the voter, the same ability to create raving fans, right? not just people that are like, okay, you're the least suckiest out of these options, but like, I love what you're saying,
People will go vote with some belief.
with some belief and some excitement, right? So like he has that, and he's putting that out there, and he's tapping into something that is very, very deep in the populace, right? The populace believes, with good reason, that they're being taken advantage of by all the moneyed interests in society. I'm watching this show right now, Outlander. I don't know if you've seen it or heard of it.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard really good things about it.
It's excellent, and the premise is ridiculous. I won't bore people with it, but the show is really, really good. And anyway, so there's a sequence where some of the main characters are in France immediately prior to the revolution, like about 30 years, 40 years before the French Revolution. And the dichotomy between, they do a really good job. Like these people are orbiting the around the king, and they're in the court, and they're all the rich and wealthy people. And the way that those people talk about the people, right? And then when you see the people actually like they're just like completely being abused, right? Not intentionally, they're just by neglect, right? And the system is absolutely like depleting all of their resources and funneling it up to the very rich, who are living lavish lifestyles in plain view of everybody, right? Like there's no humility, no like nothing. Just like at one point there's this conversation about how one of the characters is like, oh, we got to do something about the poor. Just this morning, like I was riding here in my carriage, and there was a woman with her child, and they were dead, like in a doorway. They had died. They were just laying there, and nobody did anything. And everybody's kind of like, oh, they're kind of like, it's kind of this awkward silence because everybody's talking about something else. Somebody was telling a joke, and this person just gets fed up and is like, how can you be just sitting here entertaining yourselves? Like people are dying out there, right? Is basically kind of the tone.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of this awkward silence. People are looking at each other like, how should we respond? And one of the ladies goes, you're totally right. It's outrageous. I'm going to speak to my husband about this. He can speak to the king. Something needs to be done. And everybody's like, and there's this moment of silence. And she goes, we should move them to a part of the city where they're not like in our face like that. Like we should be, and it literally like what needs to be done is not, we need to fix the situation. We just need to get them out of where we're having such a good time, right? Like what's depressing us is the fact that we're talking about this story, not the fact that this actually happened. If they were somewhere else, we wouldn't be talking about it. We wouldn't know about it.
Yeah.
That's what people feel like, right? And so these politicians, the reason that Bernie and AOC and Trump and all these different people are rising visibly is because they're speaking to these real problems. They're at least claiming that they have some solution, right? And so I don't see, I don't think his particular brand of solution is going to work, but I'm with you. I'm excited to see him get elected, and I'm excited to see what happens up there. So maybe there's some good ideas that we can steal, and maybe there's a bunch of bad ideas that we know we never need to try again. So either way, we win because we don't live in New York.
Yeah. I'll tell you though, here's the thing about trying to get him out of the race, get Sliwa out. I don't think he can really participate as a spoiler. It's not going to be like a Ross Perot somehow getting Clinton elected.
No, he's going to get less than 5% of the vote.
Well, yeah, and also they don't have an electoral college. If
it's straight popular vote, yeah.
Right. If someone gets less than 50% plus one vote, then it goes to a runoff. And then the runoff, you'd have to somehow believe.
I don't know that
there would be people. Or if they don't have a runoff, is it ranked choice?
I think if there's a plurality, I think he may still win.
But even if it's ranked choice, then that would mean that the votes the last place person, Sliwa, their votes would get redistributed anyway. And so you'd have to somehow believe that all of those votes would go, or that you would somehow get more votes than you would. More people come to the polls if Sliwa was out than if he was in. When you have ranked voting,
it's the same dynamic. It's the same dynamic that we saw nationally, where you have Cuomo basically saying, "Vote for me. I'm not Mamdani." That's literally what his. I mean, He
That's his
didn't. He didn't.
platform.
Well, if you go listen to what he says and just watch the debate, it's like I'm capable. I did a great job as your governor. I'm going to do a great job running the city. I know how to do these things. Like, I mean, literally, that's kind of his. It's almost
Hmm.
like the debate is almost like beneath him. It's like because he was already governor, so this is a step down in terms of political hierarchy. Anyway, he doesn't. He's not looking at it like I've got this great vision for New York, right? Like, here's what I see is wrong with the situation, and here's what I see can happen. That's the essence of every great political campaign. It's like these last guys are screwing this up, and so I have a better idea of where we need to go, right? And you just don't have you don't have Mamdani has a clear vision of what he wants to do, right? And even Sliwa was saying like, in this viral clip, he was like, "Look, ultimately," he goes, I'm not here." First of all, he trashes Bill Ackman, and he's like, "Look, you stay in your lane, bro. Like, have you ever been right on any political campaign that you've ever been donated to?" And he's like, but bottom line is, he's like, I'm not in this race to serve the billionaires. Like, I mean, if that's what you're concerned about, go vote for Cuomo. Like, he's obviously your dude. I'm here fighting for the people that work and live in this city. Like billionaires. Oh, you don't like it? You move to Florida, move somewhere else. You got plenty of money, you can go wherever you want, right? But the working Joe that can't pay his bills and can't afford groceries, like he got nowhere to go. I'm here fighting for him, and it's like that is the message.
So it's kind of
it's a James Carville, like, it's the economy, stupid.
Yeah, or what is it that Bill Clinton said? Elections are always about the future. So
Mhm.
the almost pitch is that, like, I did a great job as the governor in the past. It just doesn't seem like a winning message. Like, I don't.
Or it's like the Kamala Harris, like, hey, I can't think of anything I would do differently. We're doing a great job. We got the best economy in the world, blah, blah, blah. All
Brad
of which,
Summer.
yes, statistically, I can go down the list and say, okay, yeah, I see where you came up with that. I see where you came up with that. That's not an out and out lie. That's mostly true, whatever. It's not compelling,
Yeah.
you know?
So my prediction for this is that I actually think Mamdani will get over 50% of the vote. I think it'll be just a clean win.
Ooh.
And there's not going to be any real question about who's the real, like, oh, well, it's only because blah 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 spoiled the vote or whatever. I mean that was the thing you mentioned, the Kennedy thing, the Maha group.
Mhm.
Those people were not going to vote. They were going to
Right.
sit it out, and
Right.
so like that gave those people a reason to get to the polls.
Right.
Fleetwood dropping out, I don't think gives anybody a reason to go to the polls that they didn't already have. Like, if you didn't
That's right.
already like Mamdani, you're already not voting for him.
Yep.
And so it's like, I don't know. I don't know what that does for anybody. So I think Mamdani wins with more than 50%. And then I think once that happens, he pivots hard and becomes just a regular Democratic mayor. So you get sort of Eric Adams 2.0, but like with different baggage. So you just switch one set of baggage for the other set of baggage.
With
But
Cuomo?
What?
With Cuomo, you mean?
No.
Cuomo won?
No. I'm saying when Mamdani wins,
Um,
that he's going to pivot and it's going to become Eric Adams 2.0, just another ordinary Democrat mayor. Nothing new.
You think that's gonna? I don't think that's gonna happen.
That's what I think is going to happen, because I think that
I think he's saying whatever he needs to say right now to not be scary, but he actually intends to do all the things he's talking about.
Well,
I don't think he can do all the things he's talking about, but I think
Yeah.
he absolutely intends to do
so
get as close to those things as he can using the levers that exist.
right, but I think what will happen is that the levers that he wants to pull don't exist at all.
Well, they may not.
And that the reason that the system in New York, the reason New York city government looks the way it does, is not because they haven't had someone in there that wish things could be better and would sign stuff, but it's like that those things can't be changed without basically torturing your political career. And I don't think his plan is to become a national political figure, which means you don't get a chance to do that without the party backing you.
Oh, he's got a long runway, dude. He's 34.
I know.
He's got a long runway
to
do whatever he wants to do. I mean, he could have 3 or 4 lives in the political arena.
Yeah. But I think it's going to require him to play nice with the powers that be, and the powers that be are the same ones that put the system in place that he now rails against. And so it's like you either become the New York City mayor and that's it, or you use it as a stepping stone. And you'll always, the thing is that if you're a normal Democrat mayor, you're going to have the New York Times is going to be lining up to, wipe your wipe your ass when you get, like, no problem. You're going to have all the funding that you need. You're going to have all the construction. There are going to be all these statistics that come out that say what a great job you did, and you'll be fine. But if you go in there and you're like, hey, all of you are corrupt and we're starting over and you're all fired, like that, it's just not going to work. And so I think I think people are going to be disappointed. The same thing happened. Maybe the Eric Adams is the wrong person to mention, but maybe Obama 2.0. If you look at campaign Obama, like, this was the day generations of future realized this was the day that the oceans began to recede, and all this other stuff is like, my gosh, Moses has come to lead us out of the promised land.
Don't make fun. That was a great campaign.
It was a great campaign. I love that campaign. But then it's like he gets in, he hires all of the Clinton people, like all
continues all the Bush policies for surveillance, and
it's like all the same stuff, and you're like, no, I think future years, in fact, maybe we're already there where we look at.
He did screw up the healthcare system, though, so I mean, he's got that going for him.
Yeah. Use the Republican plan for it.
Yeah, that was his first mistake.
I think future. And maybe we're already there to where we look at it and say, oh, the Bush/Obama presidency. Like,
I'm sure he would love that characterization.
Nothing really. I mean, stuff changed around the edges, but if you're looking sort of broad American history, it's a continuation of the Bush years. And so, I think that may be what's about to happen with Mamdani. So we'll have a bunch of really sad socialists who are yelling about how, like, he broke all of his promises, and then completely silenced by the Democrat machine, or like, shut up, he kept the subsidies flowing to our pet projects, and like, you're not allowed to complain about this. What would you rather have, Sliwa? Like,
right.
Shut up. Keep pushing the blue button. So
the blue button.
I think that's what's going to happen. So but like I said, what I'm really hoping for is that he wins and we get a socialist New York City, and everyone gets to see that socialism can be a success.
Socialism could work for you too.
That is my sincere hope. So we will see.
Well, we didn't get to talk about the Louvre. The Louvre. Somebody needs to make a movie about that one. That is some story.
I hear the theft was kind of stupid, though. Like, not worthy of a caper film. Like, if you were expecting the Ocean's 11 treatment, that it was kind of like the guys came in on scooters and used electric chainsaws to.
Dude,
no one's looking.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great story. What are you talking about? I just think
it's one of those things where it's like they notice that the security system is truly incompetent, and so you just got to walk in and take it.
It's crazy when you think about it, though. I mean, priceless. They're saying, like, incalculable, because these are like cultural treasures.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll recover any of that. They're just going to get melted down because they can't move any of this stuff. Like, you've got this gold jewelry that's made in
ceremonial head masks.
Yeah. Well, that I don't know about, but like you get some kind of gold jewelry that's from the 1500s, and it's like it's in a catalog. Like, you can't. There's only one of them. It's not like, oh yeah, this Rolex was given to me by my grandfather. It's like no. This one, we know where this is
right.
From. So it's just gonna get melted down. And so you're gonna.
Well, then that sucks, because those are real parts of history that are
Yep.
Like when you blow up the Sphinx, it's just a pile of rocks, right? So.
Yep, but I think that's what's about to happen, because I mean, you cannot move it, so you're gonna take a 100x haircut on the value of this object. But hey, free gold for you.
Free gold, yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, and now's the right time to own gold. If only we were sponsored. We could.
Our sponsor is American
But-
Heritage Gold.
Gold, yeah.
Yeah.
Bird Group, if you're listening, give us a call. We're interested.
Yeah.
We like gold. Who doesn't like gold?
We'll hawk your products.
Well, dude, good stuff. We got to make the next one happen before 3 more weeks. So
Absolutely.
yeah, man. You guys do anything fun for Halloween?
Kids have their own stuff going on. They're teenagers now, so trick or treat is a no. But I think dressing up in fun costumes, hanging out with their friends, and whatever else.
No, what are you doing
Me?
for Halloween? Yeah.
Hopefully watching a horror film and eating pizza.
Oh, there you go. That's good. That's
What
good.
about you? You have the exciting Halloween. You're the one with little kids.
Yeah, we got little ones, man. They're getting dressed. I don't know what they're dressing up as. They have some amalgamation of like princess and pirate and some other things. One of them wants to be the K-pop demon hunter girl. Kyler was.
Oh yeah, with the long purple hair. Yeah, do it.
It's either that one or the other one. I can't remember their names, but
you got to get the demon imprint thing along your arm if you're going to do that.
Well, so Brooks got one of those Deadpool things where you can put the swords and stuff. And I was like, oh, it's like Deadpool. He's like Deadpool, and I'm like, oh, you don't know Deadpool? Let me show it to you. So I pull up Deadpool, and we start watching it. I'm like, oh, this first part's awesome because the thing, and we start watching it, and I'm like, literally like 10 seconds in, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, yeah, never mind.
I forgot.
We'll show you that one. I totally forgot that Deadpool is not kid friendly.
No. It's like those are the behaviors you do not want to be repeated in front of their mom.
Oh my gosh, though. I tell you what, though, after the kids went to bed, I put it back on and played.
I gotta watch this thing,
dude. I could not stop laughing. He had that crayon drawing of whoever the bad guy was, Randy or something, and he's like, "Have you seen this, man?" He is funny. I mean,
all the things that you wanted the superheroes to do, and
totally, dude.
Here it is.
The whole Blake Lively thing kind of soured me on Ryan Reynolds a little bit, but then Deadpool revived him for me. I'm like, you're all right, man. Anybody could do this.
Good thing I'm not expecting my actors or directors or screenwriters or anyone else in art to be like a good person.
Yeah. No, dude, it's so much more freeing when the actors that you watch, the singers that you listen to, the politicians, you just don't count on them for anything except delivering the product that they actually sell.
Yep.
That's
all
it.
I care about.
You do that. I don't need role models, bro.
Was this song amazing? Yes. Did the guy who made it, was he a notorious womanizer that was high on coke when he made the song?
Right.
Don't care.
Yeah. Don't care.